you hear that, everybody? Don't fuck up.
Okay.
Don't fuck up. All right, welcome to the FlappCast, where we go behind the funny. My name is Joshua Snyder. Normally Barbara Holiday would be here, but she cannot be here today. She is off doing amazing, wonderful things to a toilet. So that's okay. That's fine. But we wish her well. She will be back shortly, though, and all that is great. Today, I am very, very pleased to have Billy Wayne Davis here. He is a headliner who has toured with many, many big names, including Louis C.K. and Ralphie May, to name a few. And today we're going to go behind the funny with Billy Wayne Davis. Hopefully, we're going to get him to break down, maybe start crying, maybe share some deep dark secrets.
You are the Barbara Walters of podcast.
Billy Wayne. So I think here's my first question.
Yeah.
How do you do this?
How do I do comedy?
It's a big question we always have.
Tough skin and I'm stubborn.
One of the big questions I have is how do you make the jump from a guy who's doing open mics to a guy who's doing it professionally, getting paid to do it?
Like there's no shortcut or anything.
I need it in 3 steps.
3 steps. Okay. Be really funny. If we're just going vague, be really funny. Be nice, and stay out of the way.
And stay out of the way. Awesome. What do you mean by that?
I mean, the biggest mistake I see young comics make, and the mistake I made the most was talking too much. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like you always have that. You think I want to prove how funny I am, blah blah, and you're around people that can help your career. Mm-hmm. And the right move is to just shut the fuck up and listen, because you're going to learn more watching and listening than you are being like, hey, I'm 23, here's my thoughts about that thing you're talking about, and they're just going to be like, this asshole. So that's, yeah, and it's the same thing with pussy, too. No one's ever listened their way out of pussy. Does that make sense to you guys?
Ah, man.
Everyone's talked their way out of everything before, especially pussy. But no one listens their way out of stuff, where I was just like, I just paid attention and learned and did what they said. And you're like, oh yeah, and it worked out, right?
No, I've definitely, that makes sense to me, because I've noticed, I would say that each comedy club, in a way, is kind of like a woman, and there's a kind of a different way in and a different...
Fuck yeah. Yeah. And they're into different shit, and then they're not what you think they're going to be. Yeah.
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 And you've got to, the people who talk too much, right, find the door getting shut in their face.
And the shinier ones, the more hollow on the inside. Yeah. That's a great comparison. Fuck it.
Now, you started in Nashville, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And how old were you when you started?
The first time I did an open mic, I was 21.
21.
And then... I was in December and I turned 22 in that February, so...
Do you remember, the first joke you told?
I
can tell by the smile that you do.
I just remembered it, because I remembered it was very easy and a misdirection joke, but it was I knew enough, because I was also a communications major, so I knew enough about public speaking and how to grab people's attention. I was using a lot of fundamentals at that point. And the joke was something about yeah, I'm in a great mood. I'm done with college, and then the crowd would always clap, mm-hmm. And then I'd be like, yeah, I quit. It was just that simple twist of using language, and it worked that first time, and that first laugh. And the guy on before me was just fucking terrible. So that really helped, and they heard an actual joke when the next guy. And
they went, this guy knows what he's doing.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool. Now, did you know from that first time you did it that was yeah, this is me the rest of my life? Or
yeah, when I didn't know when I went on stage, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And then when I walked off stage, I was like, oh, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
And how long did you stay in just in Nashville doing comedy?
I was living in Bowling Green, Kentucky at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to Western Kentucky. I lived, I think I lived in Bowling Green another year after that. And would just drive to Nashville or Chattanooga or wherever to do. I quit school shortly after that open mic. And then had a lease and just saved money and would drive to wherever there was comedy and kept my job at the UPS store. So yeah, I quit school probably 4 months after that open mic.
And just jumped right in. And are there any jokes that you were doing back then that you're still doing today, or would you say that was all stuff that's thrown into the fire at this point?
I'd say there's, not verbatim, no, but there's certain things I still like that misdirection and stuff like that, leading someone one way and then I was always into that, yeah. Always
into the misdirection, gotcha. Yeah. Okay, and cool.
I've since expanded, but that was a lot of what I was doing then. It was just very, I think I was influenced by, at that time, very much Mitch Hedberg and Dave Attell, which is an odd fucking mix. So I was trying to figure that out.
Opposite ends of the spectrum. I can see that. That makes sense. Mitch, yeah, and I feel like there's always, and at first were you kind of sounding like him too, and did you have to?
No, I knew enough not to, I couldn't do Mitch Hedberg because it'd be like, oh, you're doing that weird dude. But I would write like that, whereas more absurdist.
More absurd.
Because I was also 21, so anything that was supposed to be one way and the other way, when you're 21, you're like, that is amazing. So that's where I was at then.
I feel like there's always a moment, or not a moment, but there's a period where comedians start, I guess the term is find their voice. And I was wondering, was that something that you kind of did you always kind of know what you wanted to say on stage? Was there a period where you're doing stuff and then you went, oh, I need to start maybe more personal, or?
I knew enough that I wanted to learn how to tell every type of joke. I knew that everyone I talked to said it takes 8 to 10 years of doing it before you find your voice. Mm-hmm. And realizing that, I knew that it would just take time. And if you're doing, my dad's a coach, so I played sports my whole life. And so and he's also a history teacher, and my mom's an English teacher, so the way I look at stuff is kind of analytical on a broader scale. So I realized, okay, all it is time, and you have to do it every night, so why not have fun with it every night? And I also realized that bombing, you learn more from bombing, and then you realize you don't die. So I would do weird stuff at open mics and, not talk my whole set, just to be comfortable in that side. So I learned how to tell every type of joke. I realized that if I could tell every type of joke, once I found my voice, I could do more with it.
You have more range.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
And what are the types of jokes in your mind?
I don't like labeling them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a couple years ago I read that Dale Close book.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's it called?
Truth and Comedy.
Truth and Comedy. And it was that funny thing, I'm reading it and I'm like, oh, they just named these things we do. We think of them as these tricks, especially on the road. There's these tricks and these certain formulas you can use, and it's oh, they named them, which is creepy. I don't know why, but I think it's just if you analyze comedy, it just takes the
mystery out of it.
Yeah. So when you're just cutting it down, I think it bothers me to do that. To have those conversations when there's just this nitpicky stuff where it's
Right, because you can do all that. You can do all the intellectualizing you want, but at the end...
Well, and you do see those comics that are just technically solid, but something's missing. They do everything they're supposed to do right, but that I guess essence is a good word.
But they're totally forgettable. The audience.
They do everything right, but they're just not. It's just not there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? They followed that formula, which you can be successful at comedy and do everything right, but it's.
It bothers. I think it's like when I'm watching a comedian, I'm thinking, well, and I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking, oh, technically they're perfect.
Yes.
But I'm thinking about that. I'm not just.
They don't grab you
right.
for some reason. Yeah.
And
there's a certain thing there.
And I feel like whenever I see those comedians, the laughter from the audience always feels like it's from here up, like it's
almost polite.
Yes, but
well, it's respectful. It's like we respect what you're doing and you do it well, but it's not visceral.
Right. It's not from here.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of like.
The golf clap.
They're like, they're like, that was well done, kind of thing. And you're like, I don't want that. I want you to laugh. But that's just our ego, too.
Right.
Like, I've walked off stage and been like, I didn't like that. And the other comics, like, they loved you. I'm like, there's something. It wasn't real. I didn't like them.
Right.
That's a weird point where you start getting disdain for the audience.
Have you encountered an experience where this recently happened to me for the first time, where I get off the stage and I think they like me too much, like I didn't deserve.
Yes. Yes, they're so good to go. It's like, once again, it's like a chick where it's like she's so into you. You're like, well, what the fuck is your deal? Why are you so into me? It seems like you do this for everyone.
Right, yeah.
Or they're just laughing in the wrong places. That's very strange, too. I have some stuff about race that I set up in a certain way. And when I do it in certain places, they'll laugh and I'll be like, no, that's not the joke. You're not going to like the real punchline, man.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very telling. You're just like, okay, well, I'm going to change some of the rest of my act then. Should have gotten paid before the show.
So for a period of time, you were doing some Nashville area around there, Kentucky, and at this point, were you getting paid, or were you still kind of?
At that point, not really. The first paid gig I got was at a for $50. I did 20 minutes. I maybe had 4. It was at this outdoor festival, and I'm using the term festival real. It was like they shut this small town downtown. There was a bluegrass festival in between bluegrass players. They had me come on, and there were like a 7-year-old kid heckled me. There was an old rickety Ferris wheel in the back that no one was using. The bluegrass bands are coming on the stage. I had my jokes. I was so new that I had all my jokes on one of their easels.
Oof.
And during my set, one of them just came out and took the easel with my jokes on it, and I was just like, are you fucking... Like, he didn't even notice. Which made me laugh. I was like, that's how this is going. And my dad's in the back, and he's standing next to these 2 old men in Liberty overalls. And he said one old man leaned over to the other one and goes, that boy's kind of a smart ass. I was like, at least they got what I was doing. And then they paid me. I was just blown away that they gave me $50 to do that. Just kind of fucking talk. I was like, this is unbelievable. And then shortly after that, I started emceeing at Zany's in Nashville.
Okay.
So I was kind of the house MC for like 6 to 8 months, which was pretty phenomenal.
And what did you learn from emceeing?
How to run a show, how the whole operation works, how the hierarchy works, knowing your role. I've never understood, I mean, it's the same approach. I've never understood comics that want to skip that step, where they want to go from like an open micer to be like, I need some feature work. And you're like, no, you don't. My thing, and I forget who told me this, it was early on at Zanies, they said, how are you going to be a good headliner? How are you going to headline a show if you don't know how to MC a show? If you don't know how to run a show, how are you going to be the last guy? And I thought that was brilliant. Because and then another piece of advice I got, and this is how they do it at Zanies, was like, no, you have this job, and if you're funny on top of it, fucking that's great. Mm-hmm. But they don't give a shit. You're not there to be the funny guy. You're there to run the show and do the announcements and make sure and, keep the pace up. And you learn all that stuff. And you learn how to read a room. And people that skip that step are fucking stupid.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And you can see, I've seen it happen a couple of times, where they do skip that step, and then they get a little bit famous, and then go on the road, but they don't go on the road very long, because they don't know how to do it.
Right.
And that feature spot's just cake. In Canada, they swap it, right?
No, I didn't know that. What are they?
It's brilliant the way they do it up there. The middle act in Canada is the least experienced. So they get 15 to 20 minutes, maybe. And the MC and the headliner, the MC's like a headliner there too.
Right.
So they're getting headliner money to MC. And then the headliner comes on and does his thing.
Oh, that makes sense.
But the easiest spot is in the middle, so that's where you should put the most inexperienced person.
Right.
I've heard it used to be like that here, and then they realized that it didn't save money, so fuck us.
So I think a part of being an MC, really important, is knowing how to crack the audience, and I'm wondering, specifically with that, what did you learn about how to, is it just something you just kind of have to feel the more times you MC, where okay, these guys...
Yeah, it's a lot of failure. It's mostly failure, and then you learn how to, read it, or at least get something funny out of something. Mm-hmm. Even if it's... Your main job as an MC is to get the announcements right and get the audience attention on the stage and get them used to hearing jokes.
Mm-hmm. So not the place to do crowd work?
No. Not unless, some clubs want that, but I don't think that's... Because it sets up a precedent of the show.
Right.
That, this is going to be, I can just answer. So some comics just do rhetorical questions, and they're going to get,
And it opens up the audience to start talking, so that they think, I can talk to all of the comedians.
Yes. Yeah, this is how the show works. And no, it's the MC's job to be like, no, you need to shut the fuck up. This is how this works. There's ways to do it, but then sometimes you learn to be like, no, I'm just coming out with it. You need to shut the fuck up, because you're going to be a problem. Mm-hmm. That's just years of being in rooms.
Right.
You also realize everywhere you go, the types are the same. There's this type of person, this type of person. It's just like the dialect and the culture is just a little different every little place. But the people are still the same. It's like, you're big dick, okay, and you're the loud bitch, okay. So the dynamic's still the same. It's just the communication's different. It's very interesting.
When you were emceeing, would you always check in with the headliner and ask specific questions, or say, is there anything you want me to say or not say? Is that standard protocol, or?
Yeah, some guys just come in and be like, don't do jokes about this. And then some, the cordial way is like, is there anything specific you want me to say about you? I always did my research on who I was working with. I was a big comedy nerd too at that time, so I was just living and breathing it. So I already knew stuff about everybody that came in. But then you would ask them, like, hey, anything specific you want me to promote or anything like that? And then, is there any jokes you don't want me to do or say,
Right.
And most comics are just like, whatever. And that's my favorite part is when I'm headlining, like the MC will come up like, hey, what do you want me to say? And I'm like, it doesn't matter, they're here. we've already got him. That shit's to get him here. Who gives a shit? Just tell him I'm from Tennessee. We'll do this. Let's go.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. So you're emceeing, and then what?
I just kept emceeing. Nashville was really fun at that point. There were a lot of local shows popping up. So I was living on a couch, working the lunch shift at Ted's Montana Grill, and just living and breathing comedy. So if I wasn't doing a show somewhere around town or, around the area, I was at Zany's watching a show. Then I was going down to Chattanooga some. Then Ralphie May came through. I've been emceeing there for about 6 months. Got to work with a lot of cool people. And he asked me, he was going to Chattanooga in 2 weeks. He was like, hey, do you want to come MC for me there? And I was like, fuck yeah. My sister lived like 2 blocks from there. It was perfect. So I went and did that. That went well. And then he was like, hey, in like a month and a half, I'm going to be in Dallas, Texas. Do you want to come MC? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, you'll probably break even. I was like, I don't give a shit. We're at the Addison Improv. And then I think he liked that I didn't even question money or anything. I was like, no, they're going to give me a hotel room for like the whole time. Okay, yeah, this is great. So I got my little Ranger and drove 10 hours and did that. And then just kind of did what I was asked. And then did well on the shows. And then he was like, well, hey, I've got some more dates. And it just kind of picked up. And then I would pick up, if I wasn't on the road, I would pick up work if I needed it. Or work at Zany some. Mm-hmm. So then just kind of grew from there.
And so at that level, when you were opening for him, by and large, the expectation is you would get the hotel room, and then there might be pay, there might not be pay.
There was always pay.
Mm-hmm.
I was, if I was MCing, I would get MC pay. And then this as I got better, the pay got better.
Okay.
So it was that kind of thing. It went from me being basically an open micer, the house MC at a room was what I was. Mm-hmm. To when Ralphie brought me on the road to now when we go out, it's like a 2-man show. I mean, he's the draw, but I get paid very well. Mm. So that's kind of been a cool thing to happen.
And it's amazing how those relationships are formed and how it evolves.
Yeah. He's still doing way better than I. That's okay.
But I think you bring up a good point, which is the one thing you kept saying was shut the fuck up, do what you're told, and, be cool.
Yeah. No, and it was very much, like I was lugging his merch around the Southeast, up into the Midwest. Never questioned it. Like other guys were like, looking back, it was like it was guys that were still open micers going like, I can't believe you sell his merch. And I'm like, are you fucking out of your mind? This is great. I'm also learning how all this works. Mm-hmm. So when I'm up there, there aren't going to be these things I don't see coming.
Now, I've got a question. When you, let's say you're going to a club you've never been before. Mm-hmm. Are there specific things, like you always try to introduce yourself to the management?
Yeah.
Or?
Oh yeah, you want to, I mean, it's like any other job. Mm-hmm. You just be nice, you make it easy to work with. You want to be easy to work with, they're usually easy to work with. So it's like any other thing. But yeah, remember their names. I mean, that's the cool thing about Addison was these guys at the time that were servers, we would just go to my hotel room afterwards and get drunk and stoned. And as we both, there's like 3 of them. Now they're like the 2 GMs there. So last time I was there, like I was headlining like Wednesday, Thursday, and then feature Friday, Saturday. So we were like smoking weed, and like 2 of us don't drink anymore because we did our time. And like, we were just talking like, this is great. Like you guys were in there like, yeah, this is. I was like, this is fucking. And then you know, I've also seen dudes fuck waitresses and fuck them over, and then they're like, hey, guess who's booking that room now? That happens so much more than people realize.
No, I've definitely heard that. Like so I've always heard is you be professional and you be nice to everybody because.
And if you fuck a waiter or a waitress, be nice to them. don't lie and yeah. Don't or just don't do it. It's hard. I know.
Are you speaking from observation or experience?
Probably both. Yeah, both.
Both. Gotcha.
You know, mine were, it never bit me in the ass thus far. It's been very cordial and been like, okay.
Yeah, I think the golden rule is never shit where you eat, as they say.
Yeah. I saw somebody tweet the other day, yeah, but you can, but you brush your teeth where you shit. That's pretty good.
That's true. I can't argue with that logic.
Mm-hmm.
So now, you're living here now, right? In Los Angeles?
Yeah.
And when did you move and why did you decide to move?
I was living in Seattle. On the road, I met a Puerto Rican lady in Florida, and she got a job in radio in Seattle. I'd never been west of Texas. We'd been dating like a month. She was like, do you want to move to Seattle with me? I was like, fuck yeah. Why would I not do that? You're like this hot Puerto Rican chick that's on the radio. Seattle seems cool. Let's do this. I was like 25. 8 months later, we got married in Las Vegas. I was 26. She was 32. Then things went south. Comedy picked up. Seattle was a great place to do comedy, but it was not a great place to be married to that woman. But neither of it. It was. I mean, I probably promised some shit I couldn't deliver. Didn't understand at the time, being 26.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know exactly what I was getting into. So, mistakes were made. It'll be in some books someday.
And when you were in Seattle, what you went to the clubs there?
Mm-hmm.
What can you describe how the scene was?
So it was great. When I got there, there were 1, 2, 3. I think 3 clubs in Seattle. A bunch of rooms. The alt scene was really about to take off. There was like this cool alt boom I was a part of there. So it was great. You could get up every night of the week,
Mm-hmm.
which a lot of cities besides New York and LA you can't.
Right.
So I could get up every night. There's a lot of work in the region. There's a lot of casinos and bar gigs. So you could do every type of room. There are comics that don't leave the Northwest their whole career and make a good living up there.
Wow.
Vancouver's right up there. Portland's down there. So I knew I needed to get out of the South with my accent, my name, but the type of comedy I do is not necessarily what they expect. So
What do you think they expect in the South?
they want that blue collar stuff.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't know if it's because they're used to it, but that's what they lean towards.
Right.
And
you want to go smart. Or is smarter the right word? Or?
I don't think smarter is the right word. Cerebral is not the right word either.
Is it more of a topic thing, like you don't want
Yes.
to just talk about certain things?
Yes, and perspective. And there's certain things I needed to say that I couldn't say in the South. I needed to figure out how to say them. And then I couldn't read if they were funny or not, because if you talk about certain topics in the South, they'll just turn you off.
Even before you get to the punchlines,
Yeah.
just not
Yeah.
going to.
No. it's I've just learned how to make fun of Jesus in the South.
Wow.
But I think it's also a generational thing too. I think things are changing. I think if this one generation of old fucks would just die, a lot of the shit will just kind of work itself out more than anything.
Right.
So.
Oh, very interesting. What were some of the guys who you were kind of working with a lot in Seattle?
Well, during that alt thing, the Laugh Hole days, like Rory Scovel was up there a lot. Yeah, Andy Haynes, Scott Moran, Hari Kondabolu was up there. Reggie was already in New York, but he's from Seattle, so Reggie got to come back a lot. So we were hip to Reggie before. I mean, that was kind of crazy to watch this fun, weird dude that was just doing this wacky thing. But I don't think a lot of us realized what he was doing in New York at the time and who he was doing it with. Because then it was just like, that dude's everywhere. And he should be. He's fucking amazing. But that was neat to see Reggie. Nick Thing was already down here, but he would come up because he's from there. Ron Funches, Portland guy, Ian Carmel. A lot of people came through. There was a lot of people hanging out.
Do you find that the people that you tend to start out with, you always stay? I feel like there are always classes of comedians in a way. You know, each one. Not, I mean, by classes, it's like the people you start out with, you kind of always form a relationship.
Well, that journey.
Yeah.
You're always in familiar territory emotionally and kind of what you're going through. And then it does change. Like, for a long time I had a beard, and people used to say that Kyle Kinane and I looked alike because we had a beard and the same, And then Kyle got really famous, so I started looking like Kyle Kinane. Instead of he and I looking alike, I look like Kyle Kinane.
Right.
So I was like, I need to get rid of this beard. And I'm not like mad at Kyle for getting famous. That's just how that shit works. So it's like, oh, okay.
Gotcha.
Kyle should be famous. He's fucking amazing.
True. Very true. Have you done much TV yet? Or
no. I haven't.
Really? That's
why
surprising.
I fucking moved here.
When did you move here?
In October.
Oh, that's right.
I got a divorce too. That kept me in Seattle a couple of years more than I wanted to be. That wasn't part of the plan. I was supposed to be here a couple of years before.
Right.
So that kind of prolonged shit. That was my own doing. I'm not mad at anybody. I fucked in that bed. I'll sleep in it.
So new to LA. Cool. Very
Yeah.
nice. And what? I guess my question is, we're going to go to the punch up, but I have two more quick questions I want to ask.
Was they going to punch up my answers? Is that?
We're going to punch up them.
Oh, okay.
Or they could punch up. We could punch up each other. It could be a punch fest if you want.
All right, like a fight club.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. I will lose already. That's all right.
I don't know.
No, I do.
Jews are wiry.
We get other people that do it for
Nah,
us.
that's what you want us to think. I've seen that movie. What's the fucking movie? Munich.
Oh, well, yeah, true.
Scary fucking Jews in that movie.
Well, but like Jon Stewart had a bit about, those are the Israeli Jews. The hold my machine gun while I take a piss Jews.
Yes, you're right. That is a good point. Israeli Jews have a certain, what's the word I'm looking for? Outlook. That is a little more intense than the Jews I'm used to. Yes, you're right. What
right.
do you okay. I get it.
I'm more of a, no milk. I can't handle the milk.
I
that kind of
understand that. You guys are bad at it. You guys are bad at milk.
Yes. we don't do milk well. Sadly. I guess.
I'm gonna start that stereotype. Those Jews can't handle milk.
It's not. It's a fact. It's
with my southern accent too. Just like, it was fucking Jews. I can't handle milk. That's not where I thought you were going with that.
One question I have is when do you tend to write everything out and then do it? Do you tend to write on stage and kind of talk through it, a little of both, a little of neither?
I've never been able to like write it out because I'll catch myself reciting a joke the way it's written and not what I usually do is my ex-wife actually pointed this out. Didn't realize I was doing it. That I'll catch something in my head and that'll be in my head all day. And by the time I get on stage, I've worked it out most of the time. Sometimes it still comes out wrong and then you just keep playing with it. But I think for me, to make it sound like it's coming from me, I can't write it down. Now I'll go back later, once the joke's there, you know, it's starting to form, and then I can write that out and cut out words. That's usually my process.
So you don't really start putting a pen to paper when you're really into your editing it, in a way? Oh,
yeah. Or I'll just write down the idea, so that I'll have that or I'll forget it. I've forgotten a lot of shit.
Gotcha. Because I know some comedians will have, you know, they'll sit down every day and they will write X amount of whatever.
Yeah, I can't. I can't write stand up like that. Now I'll sit and write sketches and, you know, write for other people like that. So
it's weird how it's a different. It's a different muscle writing a sketch versus writing stand up.
Totally different.
And how one thing is funny here, but you know, not funny there, or
yeah. And until I started actually writing sketches, like I had some improv friends and some sketch friends, and the shit they would laugh about, like hanging out, I would just be like, "What the? This isn't fucking dumb." No, they're dumb. But when I started writing sketches, I was like, "Oh, I see what they were doing. They're trying to play these characters. You know, they're doing these different jokes, like, but they're in characters and stuff." Whereas, like, I was used to hanging out with guys, like, just busting balls and set up, you know, kind of different type of hang.
Gotcha. All right. Good. Good.
You're such a good listener. Like, when I'm done, I'm like, should I keep talking?
I was gonna say, well, I am. I'm trying to absorb what you were saying at the beginning.
I'm not used to that because my girlfriend is Jewish, so I'm not used to getting to say the whole sentence. So when I'm done, I'm like, oh, this feels weird.
No, it was
you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Because my grandmother was, when they were still alive, my grandmother was put away in the hospital, and so my grandfather, who had been living with her for years. This is the first time I started to hang out with him without her. Yeah. Completely different human being. Suddenly, here's a man with opinions. That's who you are.
God damn it, that's so fucking funny. Do you do that on stage? You should just say that on stage.
No, I never said that before. But
that's so funny. It's like she got put away in the hospital, and so I was hanging out with my grandpa. He's like a totally different person. Has his own thoughts, his own ideas. He doesn't sigh all the time.
But no, I hear you. I hear you. And I'm glad you got the opportunity to not be interrupted.
Well, that's what I was talking to another comic friend of mine, and they were talking about this guy, like, how he had dated this girl from Costa Rica, and she was just like so kind and just like always like doting on me, like there's always food and everything was clean, and he was like, just like, you know, but there was something about it. He was like, I was like, yeah, but you and I like that pushback. We don't need someone that just let us do what we want. Like, we need somebody to be like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? He was like, you know what? You're right. You're right. And I was like, yeah, that's why we're both dating Jewish girls. I need a little fucking...
You need that management.
I need a certain amount of no.
Well, you've come to the right race/religion.
Yes. Yeah, sometimes I wonder, I'm like, is this too much push? Is this too much?
Now, is there, now you are headlining in the Yoo-Hoo Room this weekend.
Yes.
Friday and Saturday.
Yes.
Everyone should come out, and
Please come out.
Yes. I've seen you a couple times, and I'm always floored just by, you have great material, always consistent, and it doesn't feel like you're doing material.
Thank you.
And so I really encourage anyone listening, especially the people in China, fly over.
I would love, or if you know some bookers in China, y'all are gonna have to pay airfare though.
But come over and watch. Now, is there anything else you're promoting at this point? Any, like you mentioned, sketches or any?
There's a funny True Detective spoof that Andy Haynes and I did. It's called True Barista. If you just want to Google that, Google videos True Barista. That was kind of fun. And then, I mean, I don't know what they're gonna show, but I did do stuff for Last Comic Standing.
Oh, cool.
So I think if I'm on any of them, it'll be that first episode.
Very cool.
But who knows?
Gotcha. And do you have a website?
I have a Tumblr. If you just Google Billy Wayne Davis, my Facebook fan page, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. I let my website name expire, BillyWayneDavis.com, and I went to buy it back, and someone already bought it, and they want $2,400 for it. Which part of me was like outraged, like, you motherfucker, and then like my ego was like, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But it's like, you're gambling that something's gonna happen. So, but my friend Matt Davis was telling me there's a way you can go about it, and what they're doing is kind of illegal.
Right, yeah.
But,
or you can do Billy Wayne Davis comedy, or I guess something.
or .org.
.org,
yeah.
Right. You could be an org. I think you...
Could I?
Yeah, you've got what it takes. You've got the...
Coming from a Jew, like I don't know why I trust you. I'm like, he's probably right. Probably.
You can pull off org. Some comedians couldn't do the org. You could do the org.
I don't think I could. I am for profit.
So we're going to start to punch it up.
Okay.
So first, I'm going to move here. You're going to move there.
Oh, okay, shit.
And then we're going to bring up the comedians. They're going to do 3 minutes, and then when we get to the 3 minutes, Ed is going to make a noise back there of some kind, and then we're gonna give about 2 or 3 minutes of feedback, and then we'll go to the next comedian, do the same thing, and then we'll be done, and then you can continue on with your life and
cool
and experience more. Are you hanging out with the Jewish girlfriend tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe you can get somebody here and wait as long as possible.
No, I like it.
Oh, you do? Okay.
She's good. Most of the time. There's just those times when you're just like, you can't be that right now.
All right, well said. Guys, now this is Punch It Up. First comedian coming to the stage. We decide who's going to be first. All right, first comedian coming to the stage, Maria Alexander, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, how does this work? You guys just had this really intimate conversation, and now I'm supposed to just be like, hey guys! Like, I'm gonna be like that asshole at the party that just sandwiches their material into conversation, and that's supposed to impress you? Is that how it works? No, I really don't know how it works. This is like that scene in Mr. Show, he's like, can I have the chair? I need it for the audition. Don't just stare at me! Those cold, beady eyes.
Yeah, use the chair.
Thank you. No! I'm new in Los Angeles. And it's fine. I'm gonna sit. Is that alright?
Sure.
It just feels right. It really feels, I think the thing that appeals to me about comedy is that you can not be a farce. You can say things that are true. I prefer for that to be, part of comedy. And I can't pretend that I'm performing to a room full of people. I can't do it. I am new, and It's actually fine. Like, I've just always wanted to move here because I don't like being cold. I'm from the East Coast, and then also from Soviet Ukraine before that, which was terrible. So I'm just like ready for sunshine, and it's fine. But people keep saying really condescending things. You know, they're always like, you know, if things don't work out, you could come home. And they don't realize, like, I just love, you know, I just like, really love the scent of hibiscus, blended perfectly with human urine, just hitting you just at a constant. It's nice, you know.
Mm-hmm.
People here are pretty nice, actually, but like a little weird and like a little egotistical and confusing. And the other day, this is actually true, a girl carrying a yoga mat called me a cunt in the street. And something about that was very poetic. Yeah, I'm originally from Ukraine. I was reluctantly born there. My mom makes sure to let me know that. She's always like, Maria, when you were born, you know, come out for 2 days. I push and you almost kill mommy. Happy birthday. Every year she actually tells the story, and she's like, oh, this was the hour where you were, you know, tearing my taint. I'm like, Mom, please. And the thing is, like, yeah, why would I fucking want to be born there? Like, if you had a choice, would you? Like, if somebody bothered to call me and be like, hey, you live in a second world country in communism, do you want to do this? No. Cancel everything. There's no toilet paper anywhere. It's like my one most pervasive memory of that. People are always like, how was it? It must have been so exciting. You lived through a change of regime. I was a child. Do you want to comment?
Can we? I don't understand this format.
Oh, well, theoretically, they're supposed to do 3 minutes and then we comment.
Okay.
Yeah, you just looked like you wanted to say something.
There's so many things I want to say.
Yeah, I know. You look so expressive. Very good expressive face. No, and yeah, so like no toilet paper anywhere. And like my poor baby asshole, it's seen more newsprint than my eyes could ever realistically take in. And I keep wishing I could have absorbed information via that route. Because I'd be smart probably by now. Yeah. How many minutes? I don't know. This is really
good.
freaky.
That was it. That was done. Good.
Yeah,
You
we're
did.
done?
Good job. Yes.
Standing ovation.
Oh, thank
Now,
you.
normally this would be the part where I would say come and sit down, but you're already sitting down.
Oh, I'm gonna lay down. I'm gonna really. Whew, that was scary. Like I've performed for wounded like veterans in DC, and like one of these, like, you know, like they have all the, you know, bases, all these governmental facilities, and I've done comedy to a room about this full, but with people that are like amputees. And that's frightening, because you're just like, oh my God, I don't, how am I gonna convince you to feel sorry for me? But this is almost that bad.
But when you said Ukraine, they were all like, no.
Yeah.
No,
And a Jew from
that
Ukraine, no
sucks.
less, you know.
Wow.
Lay it on me, docs. I don't know.
What, do you want to go? Or do you want me to start?
You can go.
No, I'll start. I think your strengths are a very, very strong point of view. Like, I like that you said, I'm fucking scared. Like, you make a stand. And that you're being very personal. Like, the one big thing I would say is I want to know more. Like, especially, you know.
But you only gave her 3 minutes.
Right, that's true.
Thank you for pointing that out.
But that said, when you only have, I've noticed a lot of times there are situations where when the comedians who are starting out, we only get 3 minutes or 5 minutes, and I see comedians try to do like a shit ton of stuff, like fit as many jokes or as many topics, and sometimes you only need to stay on one topic, because I want to know, we want to hear more, and we want you to go more in depth, and you can trust that one topic is enough. But I think it's also a good sign when what you're talking about is like I want to know more details about that, especially now because of what's going on. It's so topical in a way that's cool. The one thing I would suggest is that I've heard it said. What did somebody say? That it's not a problem unless you make it a problem, and
I was an Armenian, I bet.
it's not a problem unless you make it a problem. Bro.
Okay. I just want my car washed, dude.
But by kind of like by kind of coming out and saying, this is weird, this is awful, this is crazy, you kind of talked yourself into being more nervous, and that if you just come up and done it, I think you would have been great, like you would have been just as good. So that's something to consider.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to say that I'm going to be in the Yoo-Hoo room this Friday and Saturday. And if anybody out there wants to come out, you just go to flapperscomedyclub.com. I also want to take this opportunity to make this about me. Because having a young comic do 3 minutes in front of 2 guys with microphones and 2 people in a room that seats about 400, and then we judge her, I am extremely uncomfortable with that. Like, I don't want to be like, hey, you need to like tweak a couple things because you're going to be doing a lot of rooms like this. Which is the sad thing is, like, she will do more rooms than she thinks.
Like this.
Yes.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
That's true.
For some reason it never stops. You're like, hey, I'm gonna go run this set, and you'll go out and like, there's one dude here.
Okay, well, let's try that. So that's fine. Based on like the interview part, do you have any questions you have for him about comedy?
Yeah, it's cool. He's friends with my friend Andy Haynes. That's pretty tight.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know him super well, but we're like, yeah.
He's a cool dude.
Nice. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, do you want to hang out after maybe and smoke weed or something?
Okay.
That's
Good.
That's my take.
I gotta say, I think this has been the most
And
productive.
sincerest offer. I mean,
How did you know I smoked weed?
you told a story.
Oh, did I? I know what happened.
Excuse me, no, Nancy Grace. Excuse me. There's somebody in the audience who tried to shout out, see what happens when you smoke weed. I resent that.
It is true, though. I mean, I'm okay with it. It's just like sometimes you're like, oh, did we talk about that? Okay.
I find that it
I
actually...
still know how math works. I'm okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's the short-term memory. It's true.
All right. So
He's great, you know. You're great. Nice, very muscular legs.
Thank you.
Very tan.
They're not very tan.
There's a yellowish
That's the Russian
tint.
coming out. She's
There's-
like a stone cold liar.
well, but you're tan compared to the people from Ukraine.
Oh, that's right. I am beautiful there.
That's true. People probably demand you get
If there
shirtless
was
the
an
second you get there.
entertainment industry in the Ukraine, I would move there and be a very big star.
You would be.
But
You'd be half comedy,
it
half bear wrestle.
seems a little dicey over there right now.
I'm never going back.
I wouldn't. No.
Never.
Warm applause for Maria Alexander, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so you're gonna put the mic back up.
Okay.
Go.
I thought we were gonna do like a couch thing
Oh,
where
no,
I scoot over and then I just cross my legs awkwardly the whole time.
We're not. But thank you. Next to me comes the stage. Give a warm round of applause for Charles Greaves.
Yes, thank you. I am Charles Greaves. I was one of them to sit on that couch. I have like an urge to do it now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna
So
wait.
oh.
Nah, all right, I'll do it.
Or not.
You invited me, so thank you. Yes, like I am Charles Greaves. From New York. I grew up in the hood, not to be confused with the ghetto. A lot of people confuse the hood and the ghetto. If you're from one of those areas or you've never been, I got a very simple way to check it. Okay, you look at your Facebook page. Look at your friends from your hometown, check out their statuses. Now, if your friends are ballers, shot callers, pimps, hustlers, gangsters, G's, OGs, triple OGs, thugs, #1 stunners, and or preachers, you're most likely from the hood. I'm pretty sure. Okay, now if you go to check your Facebook page and you realize, oh shit, I'm too poor to own a computer, then you're from the ghetto. There's no way around it. It works every time. What else do I want to talk about? I'm being from New York. I'm pretty sure everybody would agree that LA is weird. LA is very strange. You guys do things very differently here. I was downtown in the fashion district trying to buy a new suit, okay? And in the window of the store was a sign that said, "No guns and no drugs." Why is that sign necessary? Who is your normal clientele? The cast of Goodfellas? I'm curious, like, I just want, like, it blew me away. I was like, that's weird. What I really want to know is, like, who saw that sign and had a problem? Like, who saw that sign and was like, oh, man, now I gotta walk home on this hot-ass day with this bazooka on my back. Can I just leave it at the front of the store? Y'all give me a clothespin with a number? Put it next to the bag of cocaine? Like, something. LA is strange. Like, for another thing, I was watching TV late night, and these commercials came on back to back. I didn't have a problem with the commercials per se, but the juxtaposition of these two commercials was crazy. The first commercial was Save the African Kids, 35 cents a day these kids can eat. I don't know what they're eating, but God bless them, that's a great diet, right? Then the next commercial was Save the Jewish People, okay, with 2 easy payments of $350. Why are Jews so expensive? Whoever said Jews were cheap never had to save one. It was crazy. I wanted to call them and say, hey guys, listen, at those rates, the only people that can save the Jews are other Jews. No one can afford that. It was crazy. I was like, what is going on, man? You guys want to know a little bit more about me? I'm a boxer. I'm a boxer. Yeah. People usually, when they meet me and they find out I'm a boxer, the first thing they say is, Charles, I always wanted to learn how to box. So I punch them in the face. Then I charge them $5. I mean, I'm a dick, but, you know, I'm affordable. I know times are hard. It's crazy. What else you guys want? You want to know anything else about me? Can I keep, you want me to keep going? No?
All right. Charles Greaves, ladies and gentlemen. All right, well,
that was cool.
Great joke structure, number one. Well-formed jokes. And good adjusting to the situation, which was you had the instinct to sit at the couch and he said it's awkward. Now I feel awkward. I don't know. You're gold.
Don't bring me into the. I think I just like watching little Jewish guys talk to black guys.
Right, that's true. Like
It's like watching a Chihuahua hang out with a pit bull. It's like
don't be hesitant.
Be cool. Be cool. Did I make it more awkward for you guys? Because it's fucking funny.
The only thing I would suggest is, and this is, it was nothing you did wrong, but one thing to consider when doing a 3 to 5 minute set is part of the goal, especially as you're starting to audition or starting to be, you know, if you're doing a show with it's part of a showcase where there are bookers or casting directors or whatever, is to make sure that the set is kind of describing who you are. Like,
Don't even.
you did. A lot of it was observational, though. Which, and again, it's nothing necessarily wrong with that. But as an example, I was talking. We did the podcast with Jackie Education, and she was talking about when people are trying to get on the Just for Laughs festival, and how she said those sets have to be what's called a development set, which means you want to do the set where people watching you can see the sitcom that you're going to be in.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So,
They're casting. It's not about being funny at that point.
Exactly. Like this.
Right.
This is more of a.
Everybody's funny at that point. You know what I mean? To get to those showcases and stuff, you're already funny.
They just want to know you.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
I got you.
And that might be.
I'm a simplifier.
You know, and I. I mean, I certainly know, like, you know, and that's not something to necessarily overly worry about. But like, I think the best example, but it's something to think about because you are going to be approaching that level. Is to how to have that 3 to 5 minute set just ready to go. Ray Romano, his set that he did on David Letterman right before he got his show, it was literally this is who I am. I'm married. I have twins. He basically described the pilot episode right there, and that just might be something to start thinking about.
Okay. You say I'm ready for a show. I appreciate it. You got it.
Yeah. Do you have like a crazy mother that lives across the street?
No. I moved far away from my mom.
That's just not
I don't
Do you
talk
wear
to my
Do you
mom.
wear shorts on stage? Or is this just I have them on right now too, but
No.
Okay.
I tend to wear jeans.
yeah. Shorts are
I don't want to scare the audience.
very few people get away with shorts. The comedy shorts.
Now, actually, let me ask you a question about
Okay.
the two people you just, because we talked a lot about emceeing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the two of them were in a situation where they were emceeing, would they need, based on what you saw, would they need to adjust their material or what they were doing, or would, by and large, they could pretty much do that as long as they did the housework or any?
Yeah. I mean, depends on the headliner, but I didn't see anything wrong with what they were doing as far as MC, as long as they're doing, the meat and potatoes.
Right.
And do whatever they want with the vegetables.
Cool. Well, good. That was Punch It Up, ladies and gentlemen.
Yay! You guys should, like, tell people about this. Is it over?
Yeah, we're getting. Wait.
Is the whole thing over? Because I wanted to plug my show again.
Oh yeah, we're at that part where we're gonna plug the show.
Cool.
And then and then after that we will be over. But
Yeah, my show's at the Yoo-Hoo Room this weekend, Friday and Saturday. So come out; it'll be fun.
come out. And then let's also in Burbank in the main room this weekend we have Jeff Garland from Curb Your Enthusiasm and the Goldbergs. All Jews are required to come see him. That's kind of the rule.
It's been sold out for months.
It's just we're gonna go see Jeff.
Now's the time to rob the Palisades.
And then a little later, next Tuesday we have Aisha Tyler coming up. We just added Mark Curry. He will be here. Yes,
Oh, Mr. Cooper.
Mr. Cooper himself. Come hang with Mr. Cooper in the end of May.
I'm sure he never gets tired of that.
And then Maria Bamford, club favorite, will be here in June. I think one of the first or second Wednesday in June as well. Also, don't forget, we are going to be doing our Burbank Comedy Festival in August. A lot of big names coming in, a lot of big industry showcases as well. Also, big shows this weekend in Claremont. Guys, that has been your FlappCast. Thank you very much for listening. Billy Wayne, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And on behalf of all of us here at Flappers, thank you, and flap out.